Alola! Welcome to the Wolfpack, everyone. My name is Hans Free, and welcome to Friday the 13th, the game. Well, more like, welcome one and all to the tour video. Today we're going to be taking a little tour at Virtual Cabin, or more like the new Friday the 13th museum exhibit. If you're excited about this video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications, and also comment down below whether or not you'd like to see me play this game more as an official Let's Play. Now let's get on started. If you look, we'll start where we started off. If you look here, oh, sorry. Wait. Wait. I'm gonna figure something out. If you look here, right here, if you look down here, there's liquidation people. Two people that didn't make it out. And over here, we have the boat. Jason is sent back to his watery grave at the end of part 4. The sequence, it was complicated and was filmed in 3 locations. Most of the underwater scenes were shot in a temperature-controlled tank in Los Angeles. The above water scenes were shot on location in Georgia. The last bit where Jason's neck meets the boat propeller were filmed in a pool of the director's father. Reportedly, the amount of chum spread by the blade ruined the pool's filtration system. However, this did little to perturb the patriarch who could boast that a Hollywood picture was filmed in his backyard. So this was the boat that they used for that scene. What's this? Welcome.
So tell me about when you were making the game. Did you have any weird glitches or strange bugs that you found? Late in development, we had this bug. We swore it was like the spirit of Jason coming into the game or something. But sometimes during a match, these invisible holes would generate, and if you managed to fall through one, you'd end up in this weird, untextured area of the map. It was not like an area we physically created, but made of bits of our assets. Eventually, you'd be shot up high into the air and killed by Jason in the sky. Luckily, we were able to get it out before CERT, but it was a tough one. How were you able to find it? We had this debug code that would show us the holes in the map. That helped us hunt them down. What was the debug code? You know, it's the same code everyone uses when they need to input a secret code in a video game. I mean, just remember back when we were kids. It's probably better for legal that way.
Okay, so they're talking about the Konami code, basically. Anyways, I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, we're back onto the tour. Now, let's look for more stuff. If you look over here, you can actually see that the case that contains an item that you'll need to actually complete the little challenges here to go access to the boat, to escape, so-called. As you can see here, speaking of a boat, or a seashell, here's a boat. In the famous end of Friday the 13th, Alice takes a canoe out on Crystal Lake. There she has a rather startling encounter with a young seaweed-covered Jason Voorhees. If the special effects looked real, it's because they were. According to Ari Lehman, who played Kid Jason, Tom Savini dredged up part of the pond to cover him with real muck and mire. So apparently they sacrifice the cleanliness of a part of the pond, to make the scene look good. Okay. Now onwards. Let's check over here just to be safe. Don't lift the group at all times. Rumor has it, Jason roams these areas somewhere around here, just waiting for his next victims. Okay, we got someone. A tent. Despite the darker material, the Friday the 13th series has been occasionally lauded for its morals. In an early scene of Part 9, 2 campers are having sex in a yellow tent. Not wanting to use protection, they throw out their condom into the woods. Jason, learns of their lovemaking, approaches the tent and steps on the unused condoms before murdering the couple. For this scene, The Wall Street Journal called the film a return to morality in cinema. So kids, if you're not ready to have a kid when you're older, use them condoms. Okay? Okay, here's someone. Outfoxed. The kills in Part 3 put the Mark's 3D system to full use. However, if you missed the theatrical release, seeing the film in 3D would have been a challenge. The original home video release was in 2D or on VHS. Betamax capacitance, electronic disc, and Laserdisc. Only later was a deluxe Blu-ray edition sold that had the 3D version along with a pair of red and blue 3D glasses fashioned to look like Jason's mask. So apparently, guys, if you bought the 3D version of the movie for Blu-ray, for deluxe Blu-ray, you could have also gotten a cool little mask made as 3D glasses. I would have loved that for a mask for Halloween, you know? Okay, who's next? A campfire. Actually, no. Hello. Deceased. Sean S. Cunningham, the creator of Friday the 13th, is known as the father of Jason. During the development of Friday the 13th, the game, he outlined for the devs his take on the role of the protagonist and why Friday movies are fun. What happened with Friday the 13th is almost anti-dramatic. You're supposed to have a hero that you empathize with and care for, and then you put that person in jeopardy, you're with them and hope they make it, and usually they do, and then you have a happy ending. I've seen so many Friday the 13th scripts that were designed to find what the protagonist really cares about, what their dreams are. Therefore, we're really going to care about her when she goes wandering the woods. I discovered that in Friday the 13th movies, and horror movies in general, it's not that you create people that you care so much about, but you create people that you'd like to see whacked. Yeah. As you can see here, this one got her arm chopped off, and then got impaled by that thing, I guess. Yummy marshmallows. Oh, this guy's also deceased. Okay. Next thing, radio. So guys, apparently you can also use this radio when you're out here to listen to music. Okay. Now, if we go back here is a car. The mechanics. There were quite a few ideas that the game developers tested and ultimately scrapped. In a panel about the game, Dev Ronnie Hobbs described their initial thought on the car. Early on in development, we had this idea where Jason could do something in the car. The problem is that's the first thing he does. If you know that you can break the car, Jason goes there immediately and breaks it. And then there are the physics involved. If you played our beta, you saw how funny the car physics were. The cars would end up on top of houses and trees. They would go flying into outer space. Apparently, you go here. When you get out here, you can also open this fridge once you get access to it. And the first time you open this, you find a head of Pamela. May she rest in peace. Okay. Next thing on the list. Now, back on our tour, kids. Remember, we're going up to close to the shack in the graveyard where Jason is. We're not allowed to go in here, though, for safety reasons. Okay? Because Jason was last seen here. He never leaves this area in that forest over there on the other side of this gate, these fences. But we can actually go up to these two, this graveyard and that shack. So we'll take a quick pick. We can take a nice look at the graveyard. As you can see here, the graveyard is where many people have been buried. However, there are two very familiar people to people of the past that, well, in the history of horror movies, that some of you may know that are buried, that are actually been, that are actually buried here. Over here we have the graveyard. Here we have Pamela's grave. In part 4, the full name of Pamela Voorhees is shown on a gravestone with the inscription "At Rest." It's the first time in the entire series that her full name is revealed. Even Betsy Palmer, who originated the character in the first movie, didn't know till this moment that her first name was Pamela. Yeah, so apparently, guys, remember, history time. Pamela Voorhees was born in 1930, but died later in 1979 by decapitation of head. And this is Jason's grave. The grave of Jason Voorhees. Jason's grave. Part 4 was the first of 2 times that Jason is electrocuted back to life. The idea came from director Tom McLaughlin and was inspired from old Universal horror movies, particularly Frankenstein. Yeah. So if you ever wondered where the idea, if you ever wondered where the director of these movies got the idea to shock Jason back to life twice in a row, you can thank the movie Frankenstein for that. Thank you, Frankenstein. You made the series good. Okay, now that that's out of the way, next stop on our tour for this video is the shack. Is that Jason's shack? There's not a lot to see there. They said Jason won't be coming here ever, really, while we're here at least. So we shouldn't be heading anywhere. Welcome everyone to Jason's shack, little cabin or shack. This is where Jason and the head of his mother, long-deceased mother, remain. Speak of the head, there it is. The mother shrine. Hello, Pamela. Can you tell us how your day's going?
Well, sweeties, it's going just fine. Just being a living possessed head and all.
And how has your son been doing?
Fine. Doing a lot of good kills lately. Made a lot of money off of it, too.
Really? How much are we talking?
Take a guess.
$1,000,000. 1,000,000?
Bingo!
Huh. Are you proud of your son?
Of course I am. By the way, kiddies, would you like to meet him one day? Well, I'm afraid you never will. You see, no one's allowed to see him but me when he comes here to visit me. As you can see behind my head, there's one of his weapons, his machetes. Anyways, you should probably get going, kids, before he comes back.
Yeah. Have a good day. Have a good night, ma'am.
You too, sweetie. Come by sometime for a visit. I'll make you and Jason and I a nice pie. Somehow.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, Pamela and I are good friends. Yeah, fun fact, everyone. The forest right in front of me right now, on the other side of this fence, seen over here, is actually one of the little tests you have to go, puzzles you have to solve in order to get an important item for this area. But you have to follow a certain pathway in order, otherwise, you'll see sent to the very beginning of this back here, and then after Jason kills you. Next stop on the list, oh, actually, we have a bike. Crazy Ralph's bicycle. In addition to the main cast, Walt Gorney came on as Crazy Ralph, the town's soothsayer, as the identity of the killer is kept secret until the end of part 1. Ralph's character was meant to give the audience another possible culprit. Director Sean Cunningham was apprehensive about including the character, and to this day is not sure if he accomplished his goal of creating a new suspect. So remember, Ralph, the crazy man from part 1, rode this bike. We'll check back here if you can. Okay, next stop on the stop, the shed. This is where you go to get something else. Not sure what it's called. Wait. gun oil, huh? I'm trying to remember what it is you need here. Okay, welcome everyone to the main feature of this place, the cabin. As you can see here, we have a computer that lets us interact with this. We did as much as we can. We can't do that anymore. And as you can see here, I actually got some collectibles. Books. This book called Starlicon, a book called Starlicon, A New Beginning, 3rd edition. Jeff Bennett played the lovable nerd writer Eddie McCarlo, who runs a sci-fi premise by Tina, 30,000 years into the future. The entire galaxy is populated by a highly evolved protozoa. Only one human being and his woman still exists among the stars. Then we have this movie, this other book, Star Mummy 3, Dead Air. Star Mummy is a prospective title from would-be author Eddie McCarlo. Eddie, luckless in love and fiction, is rejected by his crush, Melissa. When Eddie finds out that he was just being used, he takes it in stride. Rejection. Fine, I can handle it. I've been rejected from some of the finest fiction magazines in the continental United States. Next item. A Long Night at Camp Blood, Part 2. The screenplay for the original Friday the 13th was initially titled A Long Night at Camp Blood. Director Sean S. Cunningham, however, had always wanted the name of the movie to be Friday the 13th. Even before he had a finishing script, Cunningham took the advertisement out in a trade publication to stake his claim to the popular idiom. The new title was successful, although you can still see references to Camp Blood sprinkled throughout the series. Moonshine. Fan favorite and fourth wall breaking gravedigger Martin is bayoneted with a broken bottle of booze. His death, however, was not always written that way. Writer and director Tom McLaughlin originally wrote an epilogue to the movie where Martin encounters Jason's evil father, Elias, at the cemetery. Ultimately, the ending was scrapped. Producers felt they would split the attention of the franchise. Matchbook. In the movie that used Jason's Destroyer was one of its working titles. The Friday formula was adjusted to give Jason a fair fight. Part of that new formula included a telekinetically gifted woman named Tina, who evolved from what director John Buchler described as a Gary clone. And now we have Reckless Reggie Part 4, Roy's Revenge. Playing one of the few characters to survive a Friday film, Shavar Ross played the heroic tractor-driving youth, Reggie, in Friday the 13th, Part 5. Or 4, I don't know, I don't care. Yeah, 5. Ross was offered a part in the following movie, but turned it down when he learned of the filmmaker's intention to kill the character off. So apparently, this guy was originally going to play a character in the Friday the 13th, Part 5, but decided to turn it out because he knew that he found out on his own somehow that his character would eventually be killed off from the movie during the recording sessions. You know, I mean, I get his point. Anyways, next thing. Fashion magazine. The role of Jason was played by at least 4 different people in Part 2. The unmasked and hairy version of Jason was played by Warrington Gillette. Steve Descovizzi did Jason's stunts for the majority of the movie. Jerry Wallace, who is credited as the Prowler, is said to have played the role in certain scenes. FX artist Carl Fullerton may also have appeared as Jason in the film as evidence of a behind-the-scenes photo. However, the very first appearance of Jason was played by costume designer Ellen Lutter in a shot of Jason's feet walking toward Alice's apartment. Newspaper. The part of young Jason was played by Ari Lehman. Originally, director Sean Cunningham wanted to cast his son, Noel. However, Noel's mother did not want her son to spend hours in a freezing New Jersey, like during fall. Reasonable. Understandable. Eric Murrell La Chapa. As part of the Kickstarter campaign, certain high-tier backers could get their likeness included in the game. One such as generous backer was Eric Jr. La Chapa. La Chapa's worst 3 stats are Stamina, 2 to 10 out of 10, Speed, 3 out of 10, and Strength, 3 out of 10. Vanzine magazine. In part 3, Debbie and Andy, played by Tracy Savage and Jeffrey Rogers, canoodle in a hammock. After returning from a shower, Debbie lounges with a Fangoria magazine. She slips past an article about Tom Savini, the man behind many of the classic Friday special effects. Unluckily for her, Jason was hiding with a knife beneath the hammock. Flames. The most requested playable Jason was director Adam Marcus and actor Kane Hodder's version of Jason Goes to Hell. This is ironic given how little screen time the movie gives to the corporeal Jason. Writing. The script for Jason Goes to Hell is exceptional in that not a single teenager was called for in the scripts. Novels. Friday the 13th is more than movie franchise. There is also a television series, a comic book miniseries, and 4 novels to date. The music of the films. Composer Harry Manfredini has scored 8 Friday films. Some of his older music was refused in part 7 as well, but it was his first score of the original movie that set the tone for the rest of the series. In an interview, Manfredini described how that score took on a life of its own. The music became a character in that film. It was really minimal. There was really only 2 chords in the score. There is a sameness to that score. There was never any melody. Welcome, everyone. Here we have a phone. You can also use this item at times. Here. A manual of occultism. While arming himself for his fight with Jason, Tommy Jarvis purchased 3 books in Part 4. Jason Lives, 30 Years Among the Dead Are Alive, and A Manual of Occultism, written by Dr. Walter Gorn Old. Under the nom de plume Safario. Each volume helpfully offers the reader a look into the stories, theory, and practice behind the supernatural and the occult. Now, another message from one of our sponsors, from one of the hosts of this place.
Okay, so did you want to do an intro? Hello. Welcome to the Virtual Cavern. I'm Chuck Brengard, CEO of Ilphonic, and we are the developers behind Friday the 13th, the game, which you are currently playing now. Is there anything you want to say to the fans? Sure. I just want to say thanks for playing and supporting the game. Our fan base has been incredible. This project has exceeded even our wildest dreams, and that's because of all your continued and amazing support. So where are we? So this is the Virtual Cabin, 2.0 to be exact. The Virtual Cabin was a way for our backers to check out new art assets and discover a few hidden Easter eggs as we were building the game. It was a really engaging way to show a sneak peek at what we were developing. So, why bring it back? A ton of work went into researching the Friday the 13th films for the game, and we wanted to present a fun way to go behind the scenes and learn more about how the movies and the game were made. Consider this as an expanded virtual museum, a space where you can explore the lore of Friday the 13th and take it all in. Who knows, there might even be a few new Easter eggs to discover, if you go digging deep enough. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound so ominous.
Okay, that was Sean. Next on the list, here we have a diorama display. A depiction of the final scene set at the Voorhees house. Yeah. Now we can go... Okay, upstairs we go. Here we have another dead person. Murdered. To some, the Friday the 13th movies are the epitome of morality in 80s slasher movies. Yet there are drugs and promiscuity, but immoral teens are always punished. Cases have been made that Jason was the modern Reagan-era killer because he was killing off those kids who didn't just say no. Sean Cunningham said in a 2017 interview that F-13 was not about punishing kids for having sex or morals, but that he was approaching the story with something like Jaws in mind. Next person. Bud also murdered. Bugsy should have just said no. Welcome everyone to this video. Here we go. Mug. The release of Friday the 13th the game was slated for early 2017. A time frame that managed both to be wide and, for some fans, vague. This ambiguity caused quite a bit of energy to be directed at gun media, and in particular at the community manager Ben Strauss. It's actually become a meme within our community, said Strauss. Someone sent me a mug that said early 2017 on it in Friday the 13th font. Cool. Magazine. A newspaper. According to director Joseph Zito, he and the cast believed Part 4 to be the final Friday film. Not only was the title the final chapter, the script called for Jason's head to be split open in the final kill. Even Harry Manfredini's musical cue for the final scene was named La Muerte de Jason. Okay, next. Travel brochure. The original draft of Rob Hedden's script had some ambitious plans, including a boxing match in Madison Square Garden, crane shots in Times Square, and a chase scene across the Brooklyn Bridge. The budget, however, quickly became an issue, and ultimately much of the movie was filmed on a ship named the SS Princess Patricia in Vancouver's, leading many in the cast and crew to dub the movie Jason Takes Vancouver. Here's the next thing. This is where you can put these two movies in. So we're not going to do that. Okay, down the hall. As you can see here, we have a little shrine, basically, of every Jason mask that was worn by the real Jason Voorhees. If you notice why there's one missing right here, specifically this spot, that's because the person that wore the mask that was right here originally was in fact not the real Jason Voorhees. Anyways, over here we have a new thing: game development. Game development can be a consuming and somewhat unique enterprise. Ilphonic founder Chuck Brongart described what it's like to be developing a slasher game in a conventional work environment. The funny thing is that we're in a high-rising building. We're riding the elevator with people who have no idea what we're talking about. Yet, yeah, the pitchfork needs to go a little bit farther for the eyeball to come out and hang, and the blood to... And we turn around and there are people huddled in the corner. Okay, guys, moving on. As you know, we can't access this room just yet. Maybe we never will. We'll never know. Next room. This is a museum of some props they used for the movie. Here we have some rifle parts for a rifle. Here we got a pocket knife. The MPAA rating board, Motion Pictures Association of America, and the Friday the 13th franchise has long had a cat and mouse relationship. Director John Carl Bucher has publicly vented his frustration with the amount of footage that had to be cut and to attain an R-rated movie. For Bucher, the gore had a purpose. Comparing the removal of it would be like telling a joke without a punchline. Here we have some keys. Firecrackers. Ill-phonic and gun media found the player feedback from the beta to be invaluable towards more balance in the game. According to dev Ronnie Hobbs, one item that required adjustment was the firecrackers. If you played the beta, you'd know that firecrackers used to be the least useful item in the game. They were designed to be a deterrent to fool Jason. You could throw something down and he was using sense. And if he was using sense, he would see sound pings and you could run the other way. Firecrackers can stun him now. Pick Splitter. Like the movies that preceded it, Friday the 13th, the game has had its own problems with censors. Germany's rating board, the USK, found the game so violent that they rejected the game at launch. Medspray. After menacing the crew of the Grendel, Jason is shot to death by the android, KM-14. With half a body and half a head, Jason falls onto a nanomed bay that super heals the killer. With future technology, Jason is reborn as Uber Jason. Same blood first, but deadlier. Nearly indestructible, and with limited movement for actor Kane Hodder. The full body suit looked sharp but had a limited range of motion on account of all the metallic pieces. Same thing, Medspray. Alice, the heroine of the first movie, was played by Adrienne King. Her appearance in part 2 is cut short when Jason shoves an ice pick through her temple. The collapsible ice pick prop was not checked properly and on take 1 did not retract. Thankfully, King wasn't injured and didn't need any med spray. Here we go. Spear. Many kills in this game take their inspiration and origin from the movies. The kill where Jason spears a counselor in the face, for example, is a reference to the VW bug scene with Nancy McLaughlin in part 6. Flare gun. Among the most interesting deaths in part 5 was the road flare death. In the scene, 2 greasers, Vinny and Pete, were stranded along the road in the woods, a common enough occurrence in the world of Friday the 13th. Jason ambushes the two and shoves a road flare in Vinny's mouth. For the special effects, they made a latex version of Vinny's head and jammed the road flare in the mouth, making a horrific red glow. Spray paint. During the sequence where Jason chases Rennie and Sean in the subway car, 2 spray-painted slogans are clearly visible. Jason lives and Quayton lives. The first is the tagline of the 6th installment, and the second is a shout-out to the band that director Rob Hedden was in as a youth. Spray paint. Again, in the climatic fight of part 6, Jason pulls Tommy down to the bottom of Crystal Lake. Under the water, there was a metal sign for Camp Crystal Lake, with the word blood spray painted over Crystal Lake. It is an homage to the title of the original Friday the 13th screenplay, A Long Night at Camp Blood. Next items. Bat. Kane Hodder did the motion capture for Jason's kills. He is known for his intensity and dedication to his craft. For some of the weapon kills, the mocap team created a dummy for Hodder to physically hit with rubber bats. According to developer Ronnie Hobbs, a problem quickly arose. That dummy didn't last a week. Every morning, the prop people would be duct taping it back together because Kane would just beat the shit out of it. Metal Pipe. Tom Savini, whose guidance helped shape the kills in 2 Friday movies as well as Friday the 13th. The game always anchored his special effects in the real world. It can't be preposterous, he said Savini in an interview, because you won't believe it, and while the realness of practical effects come at a cost to time, resources, and ingenuity, for Savini, it was always worth it. Did I scare you? That's what I do. Knife. Throughout his career, Tom Savini has been called many things. Perhaps most adoringly, the Sultan of Splatter. Dev Ronnie Hobbs gave the rationale for the adulation this way. People always say there's a million ways you can slice a throat, but only one right way, and that's Savini's way. Bear traps. Trap. The novel Friday the 13th, Kill, Hate, Kill, Repeat, sets the stage for the time the FBI sting that occurs at the beginning of Part 7. In the epilogue of the novel, the FBI has discovered that Jason does in fact exist, and goes about setting a trap to send him straight to hell. Radio to call Tommy Jarvis. Throughout the series, Harry Manfredini's iconic ki ma has been used to underscore Jason's presence. In Part 5, this Sonic moniker is subverted. Tommy Jarvis, driven mad by hallucinations of Jason, rises from his hospital bed as the VO whispers, ki ta ta ta, as he opens the drawer to see the hockey mask waiting for him. Ki is for kill, and ta is for Tommy. Tommy Jarvis's task. The role of Tommy Jarvis is one of the few recurring protagonists in the series, showing up in 3 movies, albeit it played by 3 different actors. Young Tommy's interest in masks serves as a homage to Tom Savini. Newspaper. Friday the 13th Part 3 is the first movie in the series to break the date implied in the title. The film picks up the day after the events of Part 2, making it Saturday the 14th. And while there are a few scenes on Saturday, the majority of the film takes place on the following day, Sunday the 15th. Here we have a little yo-yo, I don't know why. Here, some supplies. Jumpscare. The iconic stinger in Part 1, where boy Jason springs from the lake, helped spawn a franchise. According to special effects legend Tom Savini, the origin of the scene started as a conversation he had with director Sean Cunningham. Savini had just seen Carrie and had been impressed with the stinger at the end. He suggested that once the killer had died and the audience was relaxed, boy Jason should jump out of the lake and attack Alice. Cunningham agreed, and a legend was born. Ben. Like other movies in the series, Part 2 had a difficult time receiving an R rating from the Motion Picture Association of America. An X rating was only avoided once 48 seconds had been trimmed. One scene that raised the ire of censors particularly was the murder scene of Jeff and Sandra, impaled by a spear while having sex in a bed. Archery Target. In the original movie, the role of Brenda was played by Laurie Barton. The audience is introduced to her character as she is moving a large archery target to the range. As she places the target on an easel, a foreshadowing arrow, shot by the prankster Ned, whizzes by her. Later in the movie, Brenda is thrown out a window. As it happened, it was not Laurie Barton who did the stunt, but Tom Savini who played the flying team. Pitchfork. Besides Bill's impalement in the original Friday, there have been several characters that Jason has affixed to walls or doors or even rafters. The biker gang character of Fox, but played by Gloria Charles, was impaled in the neck with a pitchfork and left to hang from the second story of a barn. The pitchfork was real, but made so that the 2 prongs in the middle were collapsible. Duck. Jason's relationship with animals is undefined. In Part 2, Jeff and Sandra discover a dead dog, and it is suspected it was in the work of the killer, although it's never confirmed. In Part 7, Jason Takes Manhattan, the director instructed Kane Hodder, who played Jason, to kick a dog. Hodder, however, refused, saying that it wasn't in Jason's character. Bird. The jungle gym in the front of the Voorhees residence that Jason, the protagonist, and protagonist Steve Freeman fight on is the same jungle gym Alfred Hitchcock used in 19 63 for the birds. Sleeping bag. Part 6. No, part 4. Ugh. Part 7 is perhaps the most censored Freddy the movie of all time. One particular kill that the MPAA sent back for several revisions was the infamous sleeping bag kill. In the movie, Jason, played by Kane Hodder, had to pick up a sleeping bag stuffed with a heavy dummy and 20 additional gallons of blood and slam it against a tree. Hodder struggled to make the stunt believable and was relieved when the ratings board limited the scene to 1 good tree smack. We got some weapons here. We can't read this stuff. We don't have much time. So we're going to have to go downstairs. We're going to... Here's some things. Here's like a little kid's room. The spider they used in here. We're going to do one more room and then we're going to actually go... Actually, there is something here. We got to go find all the tapes. Excuse me. Here's the next one.
Sweet. Well, now you know the virtual cabin goes a little deeper than we let on. There are quite a few more like secrets left to discover. We hid some content in this cabin that will not be easy to unlock. You'll really have to think outside the box. It's like a puzzle game. See this less like a puzzle game designed to get through in like an afternoon, and more like an experience for our community to get to know the movies better, or for the hardcore fans to test their knowledge. That might be too much to say, but we can always cut that out later, right?
And how will players know when they've uncovered all the secrets?
It should be pretty obvious.
Okay. Also, you're probably wondering, Sam, why is there a snake over here? I'll read it. Snake. In the script for the original movie, is the prowler who puts the snake into the cabin. In the scene where the snake is beheaded, no special effects were used. Out of all the kills in the series, filmed in the series, the snake is the only one who really died. So apparently in the first film, they killed an actual living snake. Yeah. Since we don't have a lot of time here, we gotta go down to the final room. Listen to the final tape, recorded message, and do this.
Congratulations on completing the virtual cabin. In the future, we might update the space to reveal what's behind those 2 curtains. But for now, we just want to say thank you for playing and invite you to stay as long as you would like.
Yeah. Here we have some Jasons on display. One of them's broken out. That's the one that's in the forest. Here we have Friday the 13th. Here we have... I won't read their description. I'll show you them. Here, 1, 2... The third one's out. I think this is 4. Yeah, 4... Oh, here. There are some special ones in here. This is the one this is the one that goes to hell. The New Blood. Here's him in Manhattan. And this here is the very special Jason that comes out, that escapes hell with the literal pitchfork of Lucifer. Made by John... You know, it was an exclusive reward for backers that supported the game early on. And I would have loved it. Anyways, guys, thank you all for coming here today to tour this amazing place. And thank you all for coming here and watching this video. Thank you all so much for watching again, and I'll be seeing you all next time. For now, bye guys!